All right, Justin, you want to get started, bro?
Yeah, let's do it. Go ahead and kick us off, Ray.
Cool. So, like I said, guys, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. I always like the saying, to be the exception or to be exceptional, you have to be the exception. I think, you guys have tons of different things that you could be doing right now. Netflix, Fortnite, hanging out, drinking, doing whatever you guys do, but you're choosing to be here completely voluntarily to get some goods and see what this is all about. So I appreciate that, and I want to give you guys props for that for sure. So um maybe we take the whole hour, maybe we don't, but basically what we wanted to do is just kind of tell you guys a little bit about who we are, what we're about, what this call is about. So Justin and I will both share a little bit of our background, what our Cutco businesses look like, a little bit about some other stuff, lifestyle, that kind of thing. And then we want to give you guys some nuggets. So we want to share some things that, me being at 3.6 million career sales, Justin being at whatever, close to 3 million in career sales and being two of the top CSPs in the company. Just wanted to share some things that we wish we knew when we were at, let's just call it 100 grand. And we just used 100 grand just to kind of be, general. That could be 50 grand. It could be 250, in a lot of cases, it could be even higher than that we wish we knew. So we'll give you guys the
Basically, just
5 things that we wish. What's
earlier in
that?
our career. Basically,
Yeah,
just earlier in our career that if we could go back now, we'd make some changes.
exactly. So we'll go through those 5 nuggets for you guys. I'm sure you're going to get some value out of it. So that will be exciting. And then, just to be real, obviously, like we have an offer. You guys saw the promo piece. We are launching a group coaching program. And basically the whole idea where this came from was we're aware of a lot of options for people that are at 500, a million, already selling 200 grand a year, 150 grand a year and whatnot. But I was a DM for a couple of years, Justin Branch, CSPs, all different layers of the business. And when we look back on our careers, this time that you guys are in right now is a very fragile, sensitive, and like make or break it time. And I don't say that to scare you guys. I say that to help you prepare to move to the next level. And I don't know what all of your goals are personally, each of your specific goals, but look, if you want to make good money selling Cutco in any way, shape, or form, this time frame right here, we felt like there was a big opportunity out there in the company because there's not a whole lot of training that gets you from high flying sales rep, seeing referrals and friends of family and different things like that, moving into like a professional level. And hey, maybe your goal isn't to like be Cutco lifer or whatever, and that's totally fine. The stuff that we're going to teach you is entrepreneurial skills, or the stuff that we would, if you worked with us, what we would teach you is entrepreneurial skills, stuff that will help you build a business, not just be a good Cutco salesperson. And I'll tell you, there's a big, massive difference between being a good Cutco salesperson and being a good business person and making a lot of money, right? So I'll just jump in and share a little bit about myself. This is kind of weird because a lot of times, in the past, we've had a lot of live events and we were around a lot. So, everybody kind of knew, each other, that kind of thing. Now in the COVID era / Zoom era, we don't get to meet each other. So I'm going to give you guys a brief, you guys saw the promo piece. You can see the reports. So I won't spend a ton of time on that, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about where I am right now and a little bit how I got there. And Justin will do the same. And then we can kind of dive into some stuff. But guys, I started in 2004 when I was 19, so 20 years ago, on and off. I just did it for like a spring campaign, newspaper ad, crazy. 2006 came back to the business for like a summer as an AM, sold a little bit. 2008 came back. I won a silver cup in 2008. You can see that up there, just like Justin's matching one. So silver cup in 2008, CSP 2009 on coordinator. Actually 2010 and 11, I was a DM in Gainesville, Florida. Developed 5 or 6 different branches, DM or 2, and then went back into the sales arena and became the I'll give me 1 second here, guys, and then became the coordinator of North Florida. we did over 600,000 our first year in show business, which back in 2014 was big. And then just really focused on my own personal business, let go of the coordinator, the coordinator role. And guys, I don't know. I've had countless 10K days. I've had multiple 100K, months. I broke the October national record and the November national record in 2018 for the monthly sales. I still hold the region record for the October month. And I don't know, I'm at like 275 right now. I've worked probably 65 days this year. Justin will echo the same kind of thing in his business, but working 65 days this year at 280, 275 grand for the year. And, should finish around 425, working another 25, ish days by the end of the year. So the thing is, guys, though, it wasn't always like that. I can say that I haven't worked over 100 days in the field since like 2016. But it was, like I said, it wasn't always like that. When I quit at about 18K in 2004, when I came back in 2006, I had like a 35K summer, sold a little bit in the fall. And then I came back in 2008 and I can just remember. So I was at what, 75 grand in career sales, something like that, going into 2008. And I just broke up with I should say, my girlfriend cheated on me, broke up with me in 2007, December. And one of my good friends that was a DM in Clearwater in 2006, he opened his office in Gainesville. I just moved up there the prior fall. And he hits me up because he wants to hit quantum. So he's like, yo, I got some leads, got some pink slips. I'll help you set them up. If you go out and do them, I need help hitting this. And I was like, hurting for money, hurting my soul too from the girl thing. And I did it. And I went out and I had like probably my second biggest week ever in mid-December, had a little bit of cash. He's like, dude, just move up to Gainesville. I got a room. I'll let you live rent free for a couple months, get you going. So I move up to Gainesville, and I've never been to Gainesville. I'm from Tampa, have zero leads whatsoever. They have shit zip codes. I don't know if you guys are into calling leads and pink slips, but shit zip codes, all disconnected. Who knows the zip codes up there, what's good, what's not good, so on and so forth. So I start grinding, and I was at maybe $1,100 through February. My roommate, the DM, was like, dude, I can't, front your rent, forever, dude. Like, you got to pick it up and make something happen. And I just remember, man, being out there, and I was driving around. So that was 2008. Gas prices were super high. I had a Dodge Ram V8, and it cost me about $85 to fill up my tank back then. I'm doing a bunch of shit service calls, no sales. And I remember I rolled up to the gas station because it was out of gas and I had a couple of demos to do, or appointments, service calls. And I knew my bank account was about to overdraft, but I ran my fucking debit card anyways and filled up my tank to $80, knowing and having confidence in myself that I would figure it out in the next week, right? And make it happen. I remember selling a spatula spreader out of my sample kit just to get $60 to pay for food. I remember being so frustrated after making it happen with referrals, making it happen with pink slips, but then hitting these massive lulls. I remember not having the leads to do the consistent amount of appointments. I remember being super neg, as we would say, doing phone calls because I was calling the same people over and over and over again, and it was just running dry, and I felt helpless. And then, there was multiple turning points that we're going to talk to you guys about that kind of catapulted me, to where I'm at now. So all I'm saying is maybe you guys are all coming off of a awesome summer, and that's great. But in sales is one of the hardest things to do. And in sales, there's massive lulls and valleys and peaks, right? So if you haven't hit one of those valleys yet, you will. If you have and you've come out of it, great, props to you. But going from zero in sales to 3.6 million, there's a lot of experience there, and we're excited about sharing that with you guys. But basically that's my story. Justin, tell them a little bit about you.
Yeah, for sure. I know a couple of you've been friends or connected with me in the past. Some of you guys are new, so I'm excited to share a little bit. And I'll echo what Ray says. When I think about like, why are we here? Like, why are we actually on this call? Ray and I, we've been boys for a long time, close to 10 years now, maybe actually over 10 years. And, just seeing like knowing the struggles that we had and knowing that our passion for sales and entrepreneurship and business, but also in leading and influencing and helping other people. That's what really brought this together. That was the synergy that Ray and I had. And we're like, man, like who really needs this? Like, what was the period in our business where we needed help? We needed support. Maybe we knew it, maybe we didn't. But like looking back now, like we did. What is that demographic? And being around the 100K mark, 200K, right through there is really what made sense. And so that's, you guys all got a personal message from us, but I want to echo that. Like, we like giving back. We like being able to help people. And if we can help you guys shorten your learning curve and make some massive strides and whatever your personal and individual goals are, like that's a win for us. And we're really about win-win relationships. So, yeah, a little bit about me. So I started 2010. I was a junior, Chapel Hill alma mater, studying chemistry. My background was I was a super smart fucking kid. Like my parents were like, dude, you go be a doctor. That's the only way you can make money. I grew up in a very rural, small town. And my parents' idea of like what making it would be for me to become a doctor. And that's all I knew. Like my whole life plan up until Cutco was go be a doctor, go be a doctor, go be a doctor, maybe be a dentist, but probably be a doctor. Like that was my background. So I'm rolling along. I come across Cutco and I'm like, cool, I need some money for beer. And the girlfriend at the time, let me go check this thing out. So I start slinging blades, but not in a very good way. My fast start, I think I sold like $700. I was not good. I had no leads at Chapel Hill. This was before virtual demo. At the time, there was what was called a phone demo, and it was like a packet of information that we were supposed to just read someone on the phone. And I was like, I'm not doing that. So basically the pink slip story I resonate a lot with because I got into an office and my manager said, look, dude, the only way you're going to get leads is to go do service calls and you're sharp, you'll figure it out. And that was like my experience. I was basically handed a stack of pink slips. I was like, well, how do I sharpen someone's knives? Like, I don't know how to sharpen and do all that stuff. He's like, dude, again, you're sharp. You'll figure it out. Here's a sharpener. I'm like, all right, cool. So barely any phone script. I'm just jamming through hours and hours. I think I made like 9 hours of phone calls one day to book 2 service calls and absolutely struggled to book appointments and just honestly just kept persisting. It was really grit. Like I got to see if I can actually do this thing. So anyway, I get without going long-winded because I do get long-winded. Basically, I ended up building over 2,000 referrals in the Chapel Hill area through those 2 appointments. And by the way, these appointments were horrific. Like the customers didn't even have kitchen tables. I remember literally guys holding a cutting board in front of the customer so that they could cut a tomato with a trimmer, like just to sell that trimmer. Right. So anyway, I knew that there was some potential here, but I wasn't really sure how to get there. I just knew that if I kept taking action, I would eventually like figure things out. So anyway, did okay my first fall spring. I think I sold like 10 or 15 grand. That was okay back then. Things really turned for me when I went to RDC, which was like a national conference, and I actually learned from some people. Like I was truly, like, no ego here, but I was by far the sharpest person in the office at the time. So I didn't really have anyone to look up to. I didn't have anyone to like learn from, or I was just figuring shit out the hard way, in other words. So I remember RDC was cool because I actually got to hear from people that were actually better than me at the job. So that was really impactful. I think I sold 40 something grand that first summer, all American. Anyway, branched the next year. Met Ray in 2013. We joined a group called the Future Elite in the region. And Andy was really kind of spearheading that, Andy Jonty. And Ray and I were both at a similar spot of like, we've sold enough Cutco to get on someone's radar, but we're not like really elite yet. So, I mean, struggled our way through whatever. So I get to like 2015. I think I've sold maybe 300 or 400 grand at that point. I start doing events, start finding a passion there. Really some things that we're going to share today. Light bulbs started clicking. We're going to share some of those with you guys, but won this Silver Cup in 2019. Was a coordinator as well, stepped down that from that just to really value my time and like where I'm putting my energy towards. And, long story short, right here at about 3 million in career sales. I could go through highlight reels of also 10K days. I think my biggest sales day was the last day of the year in 2019 to win the Silver Cup. I sold like just under 18,000 from a text, which was pretty cool. And we're going to talk about marketing strategies. I held the December sales record, $96,000 for the region. Held the February record on demos for a rep. Sold $45,000 on demos in February, which is historically a slow month. That's since been broken, but long story short, like Ray and I've, we've hit accolades, we've won Rolexes, Hall of Fame, all that good stuff. We're not here to really brag or boast on that. We just want to basically let you guys know, like, it's easy sometimes to look at reports and to see the people that are selling 200, 300, 500. It's easy to see, you think about Rob Robincheck selling 500 grand for SE2, and you're just like, dude, how do you do that? And it's almost so far along, like they're so far along their journey that it's really hard for reps to like bring that back. Like, well, what could I do now today at my current level in career sales that could actually help me get to that level if I wanted to? So those are just some things, that's going to really lead in, Ray, into like what we're here for, what we're doing, and what we really want to speak on to you guys, just to give back.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Justin. So yeah, guys, I mean, I already kind of said it, but here's the deal. We're just going to try to give you guys some nuggets on things to be thinking about. Like these aren't going to be like, we don't have, on this call, we specifically don't have like scripted out lines or anything like that. This is big picture stuff that whether you guys continue, choose to work with us in the future or not, these are things you should be thinking about in your business and things that you should really be diving into, things that we wish we would have known at 100K so that we could have shortened our learning curve and got to $1 million in running a true business where we can predict our income way faster than now, right? And like that's one big difference. I always say this is the difference between an amateur and a professional is the amateur can't predict their income, whereas the professional can. So if you don't know what you're going to make in a week or a month or a given period of time, you're still on the amateur level. What we want to do is bring you up to the professional level, get you running a business where you understand profit, you understand your activities, you understand what the possibilities are, and you can have a predictable amount of business and income that's coming in and kind of move from there. So 5 things we wish we knew when we were at 100K. Justin?
Yeah. So the first one, guys, if you're taking notes, is really just like what we thought was a big order when we were at 100K in career sales is completely different than what we think is a big order now in 2023. You guys can probably relate to this, like when you were coming into the business, whether that was, last year or this summer, whenever it was, and you sold your first homemaker set or you sold a galley or whatever it was, and your manager hyped you up and you had that adrenaline rush and that feeling of like, holy shit, I just made 200, 300, whatever the case is, bucks in like an hour on one appointment, and really just how good that felt. I remember holding on to that feeling of just selling a homemaker and that being exciting for way too long. I remember thinking that, it would be a miracle if I ever sold an ultimate set. Like that would be very rare. Maybe I could find the richest person in my like mom and dad's friend group and that could maybe make that happen. But I had zero belief in myself that I could make that happen on a very consistent, regular basis. I remember like Cutco kitchens weren't even like real. There was like, no one was really talking about Cutco kitchens. The idea that someone would actually spend at the time $7,000 or $8,000 was like, I was like, no way. Like they would have to be billionaires to spend $7,000 on Cutco. I just didn't think it was possible. Again, I shared a little bit about my fast start. Like I wrote up 2 orders for $700, right? So my bar was low. When I first sold that first homemaker, it was like, wow, I just doubled my career sales. Okay. What I wish I knew then, like looking in 2023 today, where I'm at, looking back, was I wish that I really understood how to present the Cutco kitchen in a way through true scripts, like script mastery, but also how to frame, how to use specific verbiage and language to where three things would happen. One, clients automatically wanted the Cutco kitchen and they wanted to figure out how to get it. So it was this flip, right? Where I realized of like, hey, I actually don't have to talk people or twist people's arm or manipulate, nothing like that to get people to actually buy. There's things that I can do. And then now that I can teach to where I can help customers, they automatically want it and they actually want to figure out how to get it. And like we're on the same team trying to help each other figure out how to get them a Cutco kitchen. So that's number one. Number two, I really wish I realized that clients that didn't get the kitchen up front knew that that was still something they could work towards, even if that just meant starting with the signature ultimate today or starting with the cookware flatware today. I wish I could go back in time and say, wow, there's ways that I could frame this to where those customers are lifelong customers, one, but two, we actually have an action plan for how to get them a Cutco kitchen, whether that is at one big swoop or whether that's over, the course of a year, a couple years, whatever the case is. The third thing I wish I knew around that was that clients that aren't interested in one of the things, flatware, or maybe it's cookware, like if they were still interested in knives and cookware, but maybe not flatware, that I could still sell them that bundle by starting much, much higher at the kitchen and just making it a system and a habit to do it with every single customer every single time. Like I don't know if you guys can relate to this. I had this thought, and maybe, and it's a limiting belief that if I showed someone a $6,000 package and they couldn't afford it, it would scare them off. It would almost make them like neg about the demo, and they would just say no, like, oh, if I can't do $7,000, then I can't do anything. I had that type of limiting belief come up, and also just had some fear, if I'm being honest with myself, around selling big orders. Like I just didn't believe I could do it. I didn't believe that people would do it. The reality is when I learned that the higher I start, the higher I finish, and I truly was okay quoting 10, 15, 20,000, $50,000 business gift orders. When that switch flipped, that's when things got really exciting. So those are a couple things around having a big average order, or really focusing on like what a big order is. Ray, is there anything else you want to add or feedback there?
Yeah, man. The only thing I think about is, dude, when I was doing this, guys, it was 2008, 2009. I was doing a lot of demos, and before that, it was like a kitchen system was big. I don't even know if you guys know what a kitchen system is. It's a homemaker plus kitchen tools plus shears for full price, right? And we kind of like package it like, you're buying the homemaker, but you get these things, but they're really paying for them, right? And that was like a big order. Back then it was like $12.75. I'll say this. I won a silver cup. I broke the Eastern region record in 2008 for SE2, and it was only 30 grand back then. I think Michael just had a 50K push or something like that. I don't know. But here's the deal, guys. I don't think I sold one ultimate set. I had a couple customers that whole year. I think a couple customers bought ultimates from me, but I didn't sell them. Like it was like, oh shit, that's cool. But really, man, Caleb, my bad. Caleb 70K SC2. Good job, guys. That's sick. So, but here's the deal. Thinking about a big order, and we have even progressed this now, like at the booth, like Justin and I do a lot of events, and what used to be a big order was still like a homemaker, or even like smaller than that in some cases. We used to have to, our whole event program used to be basically sell a cheese knife and then try to upsell, buy 3, get 1 free, stuff like that, right? So it's always thinking bigger, right? And then we got into packages. Now we're in fan sets. And like, I don't know if you guys are in this place or not. I know that they do teach some package bundles and some of these things on some of your conferences or whatnot. You guys are probably learning them, but we want to make it completely normal to be pitching, bundles, packages, different things like that. I just know for sure when I was at 100 grand, I wasn't thinking as big as I could have been or could be now. So, I love that. And Justin touched on a few different things that we could go way deeper into, as far as like clients that didn't get the kitchen up front and what it looks like to see drop that and make sure that happens eventually. We're going to talk a little bit about that in lifetime value. And we have so many, like I have I'm sure Justin and I both have tons of clients that own the kitchen that we didn't sell the kitchen to them all at once, right? And we want to get you guys to that point. You all have customers on your customer list right now that are Cutco Kitchen customers, even if you didn't sell them the Cutco Kitchen yet, that are literally on your list. You have monies that's sitting right there. You just have to know 100%. How to execute it. So 100%. When I think about this, those are my main points there, guys. So the second thing, like the second big thing on the main 5 things that we wish we knew we were at 100 grand is the 80-20 principle. By show of hands, how many of you guys know about the 80-20 principle? Okay, cool. So look, when I learned about this and I actually like not just knew about it, but actually started doing this analysis and exercise in my business, things changed massively for me. So just to kind of recap, the 80-20 principle is 80% of results come from 20% of activities. 80% of your stress and things that you don't like about the job come from 20% of the activities. 80% of the energy that you guys get from people around you come from 20% of the people around you, right? And then vice versa, right? 20% of the people that, you know, drain the most energy come from 80, vice, all of that, right? So the reason that I think this is one of those things that I wish I knew at 100 grand was because, you know, you guys have demos, you got company service calls with your past customers, you have events, you have CGC business, you have business gifts, you have management. There's all of these different things that are out there, right? And these different ways that you can generate business. But if we don't understand what's bringing the real results, or like you have text to get appointments, you have text referrals, you have calling your referrals, you have any subsection of your business you can look at and say, okay, if you actually analyze the results that you're getting, you can say, okay, well, 80% of my best demos, 80% of my best demos, when I have $1,000 average order or more, look at it. Where are they coming from? I guarantee you that you'll be able to pick out 20% of those that it's 20% of those activities. So if you could get it from an email, a phone call, a text, a referral, whatever it might be, and it might not be a perfect 20% if there's only 5 things, but maybe it is. There's one of those avenues that's producing the best appointments, right? Or the best average order. There's 20% when Justin and I every year I look at my events and I say, okay, I did 15 events this year. Well, if I look at it, it's not always 20% of those events, but there's a percentage of events that are going better. I'm definitely flipping it on its head and I start to shave the bottom 20%, because the bottom 20% are producing 80% of my stress, right? And the lack of results that I get at those is taking away the energy that I could be putting towards the other ones, right? So when I look at this, we had a conversation with Ethan Martin that's on the call. Shout out to Ethan. And we talked about this. It's like, look, there's many different things that you could look at in your business. And if you want to really excel and push the throttle, you want to do more of the 20% that's creating the 80% of results, right? So now each of you guys, that would be something that would be workshop. Like I'll give you guys a sneak peek. I'm not going to tell you much because there's a section down below, but like through our program, we'll have 1.5 hour Q&A calls twice a month. You can workshop those with us where it's like, hey, Ray, I want to look at where do I need to spend my time in October or November or December or whatever it is. And we'll look at like, hey, what are the activities you're doing? Okay, cool. What, you know, where is the CPO coming from? What I want you guys to do is double down on that top 20% so that we can skyrocket those results. That's how you're going to go from, you know, 5K months or 10K months to 20K months versus 10 and then 10 and then 11 and then 12 and then 9 and then 8. If you're just doing the same shit over and over again, because it doesn't, you know, it's not working the same way that it could if you were focused on those top results and those top activities. By the way, you could also look at this in your personal life, right? You can look at what are the 20% of activities in your personal life that are creating 80% of the most energy and joy that makes you better in your business area of life, right? So it's about knowing your numbers. It's about knowing what activities to direct your energy towards that move the needle the most, right? So again, if I have like 5,600 clients, my own, that are on my ROR that I have sold to. So if I go and say, hey, I want to do 100 service calls this fall, well, I could just take my list and go straight from the top, but that would be dumb. What I would want to do is go and look and say, okay, here's the top 20% that I want to focus on so that I can create the biggest results. And when you have that many customers, and even for you guys, if you have 200 customers, like think about it, your attack list. Like, you know, Caleb had a big SE2. I know Michael did too. All you guys probably had a solid SE2. But if you have an attack list of 100, 200, 500 clients or referrals, you want to look at, you don't just go, right? And like, yeah, maybe you guys have a little hot list. This person came from this person or whatever. But if you really look at it, you want to know who are those top 20% that are most likely to bring me 80% of the results. So focusing on what's most important, and a true business owner and professional will actually know that and then act on it so that they can lever up step by step. Justin?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's all good. I mean, what I would say, like just some other examples, you know, a mentee of mine that won a silver cup. One of the things I did with her during an SC2 prep meeting a few years ago, you know, there wasn't a lot of events, and she was an event heavy rep, and she's like, I don't really know what to do right now. And so I said, look, I know exactly what you should do. It's like, how many people are on your, you know, 20% list? And she's like, oh, I don't know. So we walked through her database and we looked at, hey, how much CPO has the top 20% bought? And sure enough, guess how much out of her career sales, that top 20% had purchased 80% of her career sales. That means that the bottom 80% of all the customers she'd ever gained had just bought 20%. So I said, look, your plan is going to be to focus on that top 20% and do service calls, connect with them, make sure they're getting your marketing, all that stuff. She broke the CS, or actually the sales rep SC2 in the region that year, right? So, I mean, there's many examples I could give. I could give personal examples. This, like with my wife, and you know, there's a very small 20% activities that are 80% of how great our relationship is, and then there's a lot of shit we do that really doesn't do anything, right? And so I'm constantly evaluating that too. But I just echo what Ray says. Like, if you guys really want to level up and you're committed to leveling up in your life and in your business, you've got to know your numbers. And this Pareto principle is just proven time and time again to be very accurate. So that's all I would say there. Interest of time, I'm going to kind of stick here. Point number 3, third thing we want to cover is what I really wish I understood was not how to handle objections with pre-scripted, practiced, rehearsed lines or outdated things from the 1930s, 40s, 50s, and Phil Felt Found and that type of stuff. I wish I understood how to actually eliminate sales resistance throughout the entire customer interaction. I didn't understand, guys, that you're either building sales resistance with your clients continuously with the things you either say or do, or you're continuously eliminating that sales resistance. So back then, back in at 100K in career sales, what I really believed was that if I just had a badass demo, like if I'm just like on point with the script and I just have this killer demo, they're just going to want Cutco so much that all their objections are just going to disappear. I also thought that the more that I learned and the more that information I gathered, the better that I would do, because I would be able to basically talk myself into being like so knowledgeable and so impressive to the customers that they're like, oh, we just have to buy because you know everything about thermoresin and you know 100 names and uses about everything in the Ultimate. And what happened is I would word vomit on people. And again, what I would do would be, looking back now, is I was building sales resistance. And what I mean by that is I'm building a wall. You're either building this wall that's going to make it harder for you with the customer, or you're tearing that down where it's very easy for them to step over and do business with you. What I also didn't know then, and what I teach now, is that like the demoing stage, like I do have a badass demo in any facet of the business, CGC, in-home, service call, booth, whatever. That is still badass, but that only accounts for like 20%, maybe 30% of the actual customer interaction. The other 70% is really about having quality questions, strong framing, digging into a customer's pain, building trust and credibility in myself as the expert. And that's really the bulk majority of the interaction, and actually asking questions that let me know where this customer's at, where they could be, and how to help get them there. You know, I'm not going to say that I don't have objections at the end. I do, but they're so rare, and most of them are so small that it's very easy to like handle the objection, because there's real pain, there's a real framework. I know that they're actually in the market, they're interested. I'm really able to help move that presentation and that sell forward by creating a win-win. Hey, it's not me against you, which is ultimate sales resistance. It's me and you versus whatever the problem is, which is absolutely like no sales resistance. I'm on their team to help them. So I've reflected back, guys, like every demo I've done, I think about the no sales. I think about the service calls, the days at the booth where the customer was like this close, and for whatever reason, they throw out that spouse objection, need to talk to my husband at the end. And I'm like, I wasn't really good at finding that any information out earlier about that the husband actually needed to be a part of the decision, or whatever the case is. Stuff that there was just a lot of pain. Like if I added up all my no sales from just lack of experience and lack of skill set, I'm probably at double my career sales right now, had those sales closed. Like it's a lot. Because you guys think about this. If any of you have ever worked at a booth or an event, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, who are the people that give you the objections on the, like, we need to walk around, think about it, or we need to talk to the spouse? It's not the customers that are buying 1 or 2 knives. It's the customers looking at an Ultimate. It's the customers looking at a package. It's the customers that are looking at potentially a Cutco kitchen. So learning how to eliminate sales resistance with those customers, again, going back to 80-20, is what can really move the needle further. And yeah, I mean, Ray, anything else to add there?
Yeah. No, I mean, what I think about is, dude, you and I both know CSPs that are $1 million, even 2 million, that we work next to at the booth, that they're so script driven that yes, they can rip a script. And all you guys probably have scripts that you follow, right? Whether that's the training manual or something advanced or something you got from a conference or something you got from somebody else that you coach with. But here's the deal, guys, like all of us can do that. But if you really want to excel and level up, it's understanding frame, which if you don't know what frame is, like that's something that we talk a ton about. And then what the other thing is reading customers, like understanding what they're saying, actually understand what they're meaning, not what they're saying, right? So, eliminating sales resistance is about doing a demo for the right person, or only sharing the value, or only sharing your sales pitch when they're ready to hear it, saying the right thing at the right time, and understanding what the customer is going through, so on and so forth. So I just, again, you guys got scripts. You're obviously good at what you do up to this point. But for sure, like, if you want to excel and take it to the next level, I think that understanding customers on a whole different level, eliminating the sales resistance is a huge key. Number 4, guys. So moving on to the next one, I wrote that I wish that I understood the lifetime value of a client. So, back when I was just getting started, 100K, 200K, it was like, yo, I'm just trying to hit blank for the week, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for the week. I'm trying to sell to this customer, so on and so forth. And I didn't have any type of long-term vision for what I was building.
Trying to sell for a push and then like chill after that.
Just whatever, right? So here's the deal. Like your clients can have, you might sell 250 to a client once, and you might think this goes kind of like not against, but it tells you to dig in more to the numbers, right? But you might sell 250 once to a client, but that client might buy 250 from you every single year, or every 6 months, or $250 once. But now they're sold, you got them on your client list. And if you nurture that relationship, they become, an ultimate customer in 6 months when you need them, during a push or something like that. So when I think about this, you have to have the right type of setup with the customer. And then you also have to have the right type of communication and content, right? You guys have probably heard, Gary Vaynerchuk. he talks about jab, 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 right hook. And I'm not saying that that is or is not the right model or frame, but the jab, 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 right hook means value, 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 then ask. Right. So I think when we're younger in the business, a lot of all that we do is ask. We ask for appointments. We ask for referrals. We ask for sales. We ask for orders during pushes. When you're giving and you're nurturing throughout that relationship, you're adding value. You're showing that you're competent. So, I thought that I was competent with the knives when I was, in 2008, 2009, 2010. I was not competent. I was competent on the Cutco training manual, but I wasn't actually competent on how to use the knives, what they're for, how to get the customers to use them in the best way, all of these things, right? So when I think about understanding the lifetime value, I look at each client as they could be worth 10, 20, $30,000, right? Like my top client, I think is bought $40,000 worth of Cutco. So when you start to look at every single client, like that's a bank that you can go and get money from, right? Like each client that you have could be worth 10,000. So when you go, like when you see or you get a client on your list, if they're only at 500 lifetime value dollars or whatever, to me, that's just an opportunity for another 9,500 to go dig in with them. Now, that doesn't mean that it might be like right when I go and check in with them or whatever, but this is where the system comes into play. So, we see people on FSM Magic all the time ask for like, hey, who's got a good sale email to send to my past customers? Or, hey, how do I, reach out to my past customers, right? And like you guys probably, some of you, I know Ethan told us, he's like, man, shit, I see some of my original customers every 6 months to sharpen their knives. Hey, you're getting extra activity, but is that the right way to do it long term? Is that what you want to do, right? Like I wrote down talking about over promising and under delivering. You'll get to a point if you guys do this right and you gain enough clients where you're not going to want to see any of your clients every 6 months. You will not want to do it, but they're going to expect it. And it's going to be the 20% of customer interactions that are giving you the 80% of the stress and the hassle and stuff like that. So we went from doing service calls to service events. Now we're back doing some service calls or whatever. But like we have clients that are trained to see us every year. And at this point with 6,000 clients, I don't want to see every single person every year, especially when they're not buying anymore, or maybe their lifetime value is dry. But understanding the lifetime value is just a huge key in growing your business, to actually growing a business. Let's just put it that way. Cause at 100 grand, you don't have a business yet. You're just plugging away, getting business, which is, I'm not saying that's wrong. All of you should be focused on customer acquisition and adding as many people to your ROR as you can. But what are you doing with them? Are you emailing them? Are you texting them? And when you're emailing them and you're texting them, what are you sending them? Is it only asks? Is it value? Is it any, when I say value too, I mean like legitimate content that would help that customer. So, I think you guys to think about lifetime value of your clients right now would be a massive benefit. Justin?
Yeah, I mean, only thing I'm going to add to that is just a quick story, and it just popped in my head like twice over the message today that I feel value to share here. I had a service call early in my career, probably back in 2013. I think I just moved to Charlotte and I was trying to rebuild a base there, and I go to this house. Well, actually, as a matter of fact, I drive by this house and it was like a late night service call. The customers were old as dirt, like old. And I drive by the house and it's like this little tiny brick house on the hill. And I'm like, damn, dude, I don't want to go do this. Like, I've not had a good day. And I'm like, dude, I could just bail, and who would know? Right. Like, I'd sold enough that my manager's not like PDIing me every day and all that stuff. I'm like, who would even know? And I actually left. I drove away from the house. Right. And I remember I got like 5 minutes away and I was like, dude, it's just not who I am. Like, I got to do better than that. I got to hold myself to a higher standard than that. I drive back to the customer's house. Long story short, she's had a homemaker for 40 years and she upgraded to an ultimate set. And I remember thinking, wow, like, thank God I came. And then I thought there was just something in me. It was in November. So it was around the holidays. There was just something in me that was like, just ask for more. Just go ahead and ask for more now. Just see what happens. And I was like, hey, have you ever considered getting your kids Cutco? She said, no, I haven't. But with Christmas coming up, like maybe we'll look at a couple of your gift sets. So she looks at a couple 2-piece gift sets. And I just thought, like, well, why don't, have you ever considered just getting the same set that you've had over the last 40 years? Like, look at how well that serves you, yada, yada, yada. Long story short, she ends up buying her 3 kids homemaker plus eights. She adds kitchen tools to them. She adds hunting knives for the grandkids, all that stuff. Now, all that stuff's good. Like, that's all about how to have a great order at once. Here's where the lifetime value piece comes in. I realized early on, hey, this customer is actually like, she loves Cutco, but her and I, like, she loves me. I play piano in her kitchen for her, right? And her husband. Um, Basically, I just nurtured this. I said, look, I just need to get in front of her every year, no matter what. I need to take care of her. I need to go, above and beyond. This is a top 20% customer by far. Same type situation as Ray having a $30,000 client. She's now bought over 25,000 from me. All the kids have ultimate sets. All the kids have full cookware. All the kids and her have flatware. Like, everybody in their family has everything. And anytime we're on grandkids getting married now, anytime a grandkid gets married, because of the relationship and that I've built with her, it's just a simple phone call. And it's like, how much do you want to spend? Right. And it's a 4K, 5K order plus every time that there's a wedding. So, I mean, I'm blessed because I did see that earlier on in my career, but I think, like, if you look at your entire database, guys, that's just one customer of mine. When I look at my 5,000 plus clients, or however many clients you guys have, when you really, like, open your mind to the possibility of just how much CPO and how much income for you is in there, not just for what they can buy for themselves, but what they can buy for their kids, their businesses, their clients, whatever the case is, things get exciting. So I know we've got 10 minutes left, right? I thought we'd be, quick, but we are both long-winded and we enjoy this. So fifth and final point, what we wish we knew now was the true power in having mentorship, and mentorship that was actually relatable to where we were at in the business, that was tailored for us. So I shared my story about being the number one rep in my office, early on. And again, that's like, it wasn't really impressive. The office wasn't doing great, but there was a CSP in the office that time that, she was at 200K in career sales, but she'd been selling for like 6 years. So I'm like, I mean, that seemed like so high, but it really wasn't like very impressive to me. So I just kind of churned along, like doing my own thing, did the RDC thing, got some nuggets, implemented them, but then again, just kind of went about like doing my own thing, and literally struggled in a lot of ways. I was not very good on the phone. I was trying to build lead bases from scratch in all these different markets. And it wasn't until I got my first mentor in 2014 that I really was like ready to take my business to the next level. And I'm like, look, I feel like I'm capped out on demos, on like what I can do naturally, or like on my own, if you will. So what did I do? I sought out the number one demo rep, potentially in company history, definitely at the time in company history. He'd sold like 400 grand, just pure demos, nothing else. And what I realized was, like, I took my average order from good, like 650, $700. Again, guys, this is like 10 years ago. So $700 average order was like really, really solid, to over $1,150. And that was the first time that I got mentorship where I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I looked at one area of the business that I wanted to focus on, and it paid off, but it took me 6 years to ever get to that first mentor. And then guess what I did? I was like, all right, cool. I know everything there is to know about selling Cutco in every way. So I didn't have a mentor again for a few more years. And then I got out of demos. So it's like, okay, cool. I'm trying to learn the business on selling at events and this different stuff. Eventually, I got another mentor around marketing that taught me like the power of customer contact strategy and how to do that. Elevated my marketing, sold double my sales that year just through customer marketing, not getting any better at selling Cutco, just getting better at having systems and processes in place to help. And then I said, at that point, this is like 7 years. I'm like, cool, I need to always have a mentor or somebody that I'm learning from, leaning into, and worked with Brandon Brown, worked with Mike Dowd, worked with a lot of names that you guys have probably heard on different areas of the business. And then eventually, what I have now is a coaching group that's outside of Cutco completely, that's focused on longer term business development, personal development, really understanding things like consumer psychology and stuff that, we're just not taught in the Cutco sphere. That's the type of mentorship that I've had now. So I bring this back full circle in, I'm getting a lot of great mentorship, and I have over the past 3, 4, 5 years. But if I could do things over, I would have grabbed a mentor at 50K in career sales. I'm like, I need to be looking up to somebody that is where I want to be and where I'm aiming to be. And there's a gap there. I want to find someone that's already achieved this and become a sponge and learn everything I can. And so if I could go back, having mentorship early on and just continue on, as long as it's a win-win relationship. Again, win-win is so important. Like, the give and the take has to be there. But I would 100% have done that. Ray, any last thing to add there?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have the exact same journey, but pretty similar. I mean, it got to a point where I studied everything that I possibly could that was for free, right? Vector Connect library, document library, all the audio libraries. I went to town on all that stuff, used my manager as much as I could. And then it got to the point where I exceeded his level of influence, right? So then in 2008, I basically sold Andy Janti on mentoring me, like one-on-one mentor and that's the year I won the Silver Cup, and things definitely changed. Same thing. I felt like I got to the point where I had not, needed it anymore. And then I go through like a little lull. And every single time that I look back at my business where I had this large growth or this large breakthrough, it was because I did something. Jacob mentioned fast action. I coached with Josh for about a year, and some of that time frame, I went cross training with Curtis J. Hughes and Brandon Brown and a bunch of these guys at events to watch them do their thing. But every single time, it's been huge. Now, the one thing that I want to say about the mentorship though is Justin mentioned it. It's like, look, for me, example, let's just say, like, I don't even know who the top CGC person is. I'm sure they're extremely impressive in business, and they're extremely impressive in the CGC business, but they wouldn't help me because I don't want to really like ramp up my CGC business. I sell closing gifts to my residential clients, and it is what it is. Look, there's tons of people that you guys can follow on social media. There's tons of coaches and influencers and, different people like that. But like, one of the things that I've realized in my life is that a lot of those people don't know where you're specifically at and where you're trying to go. And if you choose the wrong person or the wrong mentor and the wrong path, it could just set you back on your trajectory of where you're trying to go. And that happens. Like, I'm not saying that you guys are going to be, perfect picking mentors and people to follow and people to learn from, but like an old mentor of mine, Peter Voogd, said, take advice from few, and only take advice from people that you would be willing to trade spots with right now. Right. So like, obviously we all outgrow certain mentors and whatnot when we're ready to project into a different way. And that's fine for both sides of that equation. But it's just something to think about, to choose. See a lot of you guys saying that mentorship's been great and it has impacted your career to this point. So really that's what we got for the 5 levels of value, guys, or the 5 things that we wish that you or we knew at 100 grand. We do want to share with you guys what we're working on. Again, like I said, we felt like there's a big opportunity in this 50K to 250K, 500K in career sales realm. So, look, there's a lot of options out there. We know Rob Brandt, we know Josh Muller, we know Brandon, we know all these guys like that are doing stuff. And in my eyes, you can do a couple things. You can do this on your own and just get all of the free information that you can, study it, know yourself, work on it yourself, and grind. And I respect that fully because I've done that a lot in my career. There are CSPs like Jason Jeffrey and Brandon Brown, and I don't know Muller's pricing right now, but I'm pretty sure his group coaching's well over $1,000 a month, or different packages or 6-month packages and stuff like that. I know a lot of the CSPs don't even take on people at the 5% mentorship level that aren't already doing 150 grand. And then, I know that there's some coaches that aren't really active in the business anymore that are great for building blocks and whatnot. What we're doing is we're actively in the business, top, 30 reps or 40 reps in the country right now this year, only working 65 days. We're putting together this mentorship program, this group coaching program. And look, dude, it might be for you guys, it might not. We're not going to have any hurt feelings. It's all good. We'll be fine either way. But what we're doing is 4 calls a month, 4 weekly calls a month. 2 of them are going to be, we'll alternate between a content call and a Q&A call. So just like this on Zoom, we'll probably do like 45 to 50 minutes of content, 10 minutes of Q&A. The second week, we're going to do a 1.5 hour Q&A. That's like a hot seat. You guys can hop on a Zoom like this. We'll answer live questions. We'll workshop your business. We'll dive into objections. We can do whatever you want. We also are going to have a Telegram community. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with that, but a Telegram group where we're dropping nuggets on the regular daily. We can answer specific questions on there for you. You'll have the community of each other or whoever's in that group together. And we're going to progress this thing and run it for a while. So obviously you can, we'll do optional 2-on-1, Justin and I both coaching you on a 1-on-1 call as an optional thing, but 4 calls a month, 2 live Q&As and 2 content calls, community. We'll share scripts. We'll share, some marketing material. We'll help with marketing program. In fact, Justin, do you have any of that content that you want to share quickly as we're
100%. I mean, any facet of the business, if it comes to prospecting into $1 million homes, if it comes to crushing an event, finding events, anything event related, crushing service calls and specific scripts around there, how to sell Cutco kitchens and like how to do it our way effectively, again, where customers want to do that, how to put marketing systems in place and really leverage social media, text messages, email service, voice drops, how to put together a campaign there, really just how to level up and run this like a business that, again, it's predictable, it's scalable, it's growing, it's exciting. You're working in the business and on the business, but the business is not running your life. You have a healthy life outside of that.
Yeah, we're top. I mean, this is just another little nugget, but we're both top 25 in the company in cookware and flatware sales. So if you're looking to up your game there, that's something we can help you like actively, like this year, right now, year to date, top 25 in flatware and cookware sales. I'm sure we're both up on there on sets as well. But yeah, guys. So look, if you are hungry, you feel like you want to build a business, not just a sales, like a sales gig where you're making a little bit of money here or there. Like, look, I'm not saying that we can't coach you to an All-American, but if you're in school and you want to be an All-American, maybe we're not for you. Like I'm trying to get people to $200K a year plus on the regular and build a business where you can start getting passive income. This is something Justin and I didn't drop, but both of us are probably over 75 grand for the year right now and passive sales, like incoming phone calls from email sales and shit. So if you want to build a business like that, we're probably for you. If you're like want to do it on your own, or maybe you're looking for the All-American route, or maybe you're in management and this is not like a priority, totally cool. We're probably not the best fit regardless. But Justin's going to drop a link for you guys to sign up if you're ready to sign up. We're also down to have like a one-on-one call with you, a brief one to kind of discuss your specific situation if you want, where we can dive in and see if it's a good fit on both of our ends. Like I said, we really don't want to work with people that aren't committed anyways. So totally cool if not. And then if you guys do sign up in the next 24 hours, so by tomorrow night at 8:30, we're going to do an extra 1-on-1 call or 2-on-1 call with you guys free. And then, if not, totally cool. We wish you guys the best of luck. We'll probably drop some more, webinars like this in the future and stuff like that, just for free game as well. But I appreciate all of you guys joining me, joining us. The links in the chat, I'll leave it up for a little bit and you guys can check it out. Reach out to us on Facebook. I sent that group text. That's my number, the 352 number. Justin's in there as well.
Drop a text in there too.
Cool. So Justin will drop a text in there. Just reach out to us if you have any questions, you want to dive in, talk a little bit further about your specific situation. But I appreciate you guys. Hope you got some value and good luck this fall.
Yeah, guys, and I'll just finish with this again. Like you could have done anything tonight, right? You could be doing a million other things. The fact that you're here is obviously a good sign. I really want to stress the fact that like if you got some value and you feel like, hey, there could be a good fit here, like truly consider this and what the impact that it could have on your business. If it's not a good fit, promise you, like Ray and I are not going to lose sleep over it. We're not mad at you. We're not enemies, nothing like that. Like we are in your corner and we're rooting for your success. We would like that to be with us though, like straight up. Like if we believe we can give you value and we can really shorten the learning curve for you. But again, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it. So I do appreciate you guys. And I know we're 3 minutes over, so we're going to let you go. But the payment link is right there and the link to check out what we're doing. So hope to see you guys on a future call as well.
All right. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Later.
Thanks for the time.